We are live. We are live. Welcome to College Football Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do as well, please subscribe to our channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and friends. And make sure you ring that notification bell if you want to support this independent, national, college football's rebel outpost with a donation to help us keep the lights on and grow the channel. Just hit that $sign where you make your comment, and I will get you a super chat as quick as I possibly can. Welcome everybody into the studio that sits on the corner, the very corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to become a legend with your comments and with your phone calls. College football peek around the corner. PATC. Welcome on in. I do appreciate y'all coming on in. Hope you're having a wonderful day. United States 2, Australia 0, and that second half was really chippy, really physical. Australia, I think if it was the same guys on the United States that went out there on the pitch versus the same guys against Australia that went out on that pitch, and the game was not soccer or football, if the game was rugby, I think we would have lost. Australia was big, strong, thick, a little slow. don't quite have the skill set as the United States team. But, man, that game got physical in the second half. So congratulations to the United Staters out there. We're going to have a, we've been having such big live shows lately. Tonight, it's a stack show. I can't promise you a Rose Garden. We just had a storm roll on through here. And we might have another one. A bunch of hell hit the side window of the studio, and we don't know what's going to happen next. So, if I suddenly leave you, that is the reason why. We just got through the storm, but another one, the next wave, not realignment wave, but the next wave of weather is about to come through, I believe. So we'll do the best we can. Again, I had to, OPD Dunn, I don't think is in the chat room yet. Or he might not come in. I don't blame him because he did not quite make the art. He did not. OPD Dunn is going to be on here. OPD Dunn is going to be on. He's going to be at the peak around the corner art, the title screen soon. I've already scrapped him off one time because we had to change a live show. I did not have... This show, the Cruz and Cantwell wall in the Cody Control, down at the bottom there, the guy wearing the hat saying Cody Control. Now, to protect College Sports Act, the one that's going to fix everything. Now they're putting up a wall between the G6 schools and the Power 4. That is UConn climbing down the wall, the dog, the husky. That is UCF Bowl trying to go down, and Cody Control is snapping away the ladder. And on the other side here, if they get down on the ground, they can run into the fields. The Power 4 dreams potentially out there. Now, there might be some saying, well, UConn, again, they don't have an invitation. South Florida, there's not enough money for South Florida. They're not going to get invited. Boise State, they've had their chance. They're not going to get invited. Memphis, it's not going to happen. To take away the aspirations... To take away any possibility, to just shut it down right now. You no longer have freedom of association. There is no, you don't, if an organization wanted you, they could not take you in. A private organization. You're taking away freedom of association. You're taking away innovation, and you're going to fix this? A couple of things. The title of the show is College Football Point of No Return. College football, point of no return. The battle lines have been drawn. What do I mean by that? Yesterday, I reported to you the people that I was fortunate enough to communicate with. There is a visceral action, a feeling, an emotion, and there is, I really believe there's two realities here that everybody's got to come to grips with. At least At least this is the strong perception. I believe I can say this is a strong perception from the Big Ten and the SEC. And that is number one. If this bill doesn't pass, if there is not enough time to get it passed, if it just is a crunch time, if the Senate can't quite do it, if it goes to the House Majority Leader and the leaders of the House they don't like it might not pass. It might not pass because the Black Caucus. It might not pass because the unions are against it. There's a lot of reasons that it might pass. It might pass, it might not pass. I don't think it's going to pass, but I did not think we would get a 19-9 vote out of that subcommittee. My mind is completely blown by everything here. But the point is, even if this bill doesn't pass, the damage has been done. The damage has been done. Because nobody in the Big Ten, and I think the SEC, but I can really, most of the people that I'm talking with in this story are Big Ten people. And that is, the Big Ten do not believe this is the last time that the forces of Cody Campbell are going to go after this. The government control. They're going to do it again. And most likely after the next midterm election, they're going to have more support for government control, not less. That's one reality. That is a battle line that is drawn. It doesn't even matter if this bill doesn't pass. They're coming again. Why not? Cody's got the money to, smash capital. They're gonna have more people on their side, and the bill is even going to be more aggressive the next time around. Ted Cruz will have probably less of a voice. And here's the other reality. Here is another reality that the Big Ten people and the SEC people are going to have to come to grips with. And that is, if the Big Ten and the SEC decide to do this very dangerous activity, to do a partial breakaway, to whatever you want to call it, somewhere on the spectrum of a breakaway. When you do that, if you decide to do this thing, there has to be a piece in there. And please, I do not have the answers. I am the original Minnesota moron. There has to be a piece in there that goes over the top, that pushes the ball forward on player representation, student-athlete representation, student-athlete compensation, student-athlete opportunity, student-athletes' health. There has to be some sort of breakthrough, some sort of innovation, some sort of where the players are getting a better deal tomorrow than they are today. And the SEC can provide that because of A, B, C, D. The Big Ten are committed to providing that because of A, B, C, D. I don't know what it looks like. I do not know what it looks like. So again, if you give us a call, if you give us a super chat, if you give us a comment, if you give me a DM, Give me your ideas, because I don't have the answers. But in about a couple of weeks ago, we did a early peak cloak and dagger, and then we did a live show on the Big Ten Blueprint, and we were told a couple of angles that the Big Ten were looking at, and they're still looking at those same angles. So is the Southeastern Conference. Danny White talked about a national employment agency. Danny White, there's so many places that I can start with this live show, but let's start it here. We got a lot to get to, so buckle up, brace for impact. Danny White, athletic director, Tennessee. Let's just read what he has to say here. While I don't disagree that federal intervention would be necessary for student athletes to be employees of public universities in some states, it's not needed with a single national employment agency. Student athletes can be students of our universities while also being employed by that entity. Just like other students all over our campuses who also have jobs. Those of us who understand that a CBA is by far the best long-term solution for college sports have not been assuming help from Congress. There is a way to do this within the current laws of our country that rightfully gives the players a voice and can be legally defendable. It's working fairly well for the NBA, NFL. The longer we keep our heads in the sand about our legal reality, the worse things are going to get for college sports, a uniquely American treasure that I care deeply about. But Danny White has come out and said that, and he said this in public. Yeah, he's for collective bargaining and all that, but he said in public, like, this, it can't be just like the NBA, or it's way more complicated. So even Danny White, who's on the front edge of this, understands that there's state laws, there's universities, all different kind of state laws. There's private universities, there's public universities, and there's universities at all different levels of resources and scholarships and all that stuff. So now when I saw this, I asked Mr. Danny White a few questions, and I do not think he answered, which I don't expect him. I don't expect anybody to answer me on anything. But let me excuse me. Let me just make sure I did not get an answer. I'm sure I did not. Just let me and okay. Here was my you know what, I forgot to change this again. Man, am I an idiot. Hold on. Okay. Danny White. The comment that I just read off. Then I said, how does a single national employment agency get formed? Who is creating this agency? How do we start creating this agency? And that's the problem that I have with all this. And I commend Danny White for speaking out on this all the time. He did this over a year ago. But I never hear the next, like the next thing. How do we do this? Now, I I firmly believe that the Big Ten and the SEC and probably the Big 12 and the ACC are looking at all this. They're trying to figure it out. And I believe the SEC is trying to figure this out as a conference. And the Big Ten is trying to figure it out as a conference. Because to do something like this nationally, we can't do anything nationally, can we? The only thing that we're able to do nationally right now is to have a college football playoffs. And even that, we can't change the format to increase, to democratize the sport. You know, it's so giving somehow student athlete representation to get it off the ground has to come, I believe, at a conference level. And of course, it's Donde Plowman, the leader, the chancellor of Tennessee, Danny White. Whatever the SEC becomes, whatever system they fall into, whatever they decide upon, it's going to come most likely from Plowman and Danny White, in my strongly held opinion. Now, there's going to be disagreements and all that, but the SEC, they got to do this. The Big Ten has to do this. If you're going to do a breakaway, whatever level of breakaway that is, there's got to be a component that is different than today around the student athlete. There are rules, enforcement, and data this and data that. The Big Ten and the SEC, one of the biggest complaints that they're having with this bill and everything else is the formulation, the algorithm, however you want to call it, on the rev share. It's completely obsolete already. The $21.5 million, now $22.5 million, whatever it is, it's way too low. If you're going to use the metrics that they use in the House settlement and use it in SEC alone, the Southeastern Conference rev share should be about 29 to 30 million a team, not 21, not 22. Almost 33% higher. That's the problem with the House settlement. That's the problem with the government taking over. It's not, none of this is nimble enough. There has to be some agreed upon number for the stakeholders that represent the labor and the stakeholders that represent the conference. All I'm saying is the Big Ten and the SEC just skipping along and breaking away, and there has to be something fundamentally different about it for even to have a chance to work. And I think that's why they're working on it. Because the battle to take all of this decision making and give it to the government, it's all coming again. And the next time it comes, if it fails this time, and I think it will, the next time the forces are going to be even stronger, connected with private equity. Okay, so I wanted the battle lines are drawn on this. And I think damage has been, and I'm going to go through a little report from John Wilner today. We're only going to take a little bit of his article, but there is one at the very end of one paragraph. Yeah. There is a lot of truth to what John Wildner told the truth on this. So we're going to get into that. So we got a big show. We absolutely have a big show. We already have 154 people in here. We've got the Kansas Rock Chalk Jayhawks as part of our spotlight today. We're putting the Jayhawks under the spotlight, and we're going to be talking about James Madison, Appalachian State, these other schools. They have aspirations. They have just like Houston did, just like BYU did, although BYU was never a G5 school. Just like Cincinnati. They have aspirations to get kicked up to a power conference. This Cantwell bill says no longer. No longer can you have those aspirations because right now is a magical time where all the walls go up. Unbelievable. Rodney Richborg is in the house. Amazing Blue is here. Coy, Gold Black 45, Tazbo. Jose, yes, that's a Yukon Husky. Absolutely. MBM Oklahoma State Husky. Ed Hawk is in the house. Esmus Talks. No Berman, Greg the Gold. You got that right. CFB plus. Smile Time, Greg the Gold is a myth. You know, I have no problem with you saying that because I have given no indication. I have given no clues that the Greg the Gold even exists. So I'm not going to give you a hard time for saying that. Smile Time. But I promise you, I give you a guarantee. 5 gold star lock guarantee that 2026 is the redemption tour for Greg the Gold. It's happening. It's happening. It's happening in a couple of months. Locks. It's a myth. It might be a myth today, Smile Time, but in a couple of months from now, 2026, it's going to be reality, and it's going to be a beautiful thing. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful thing. Mohr Simmons is in the house. Jose is here. Joaquin Morales, Kay Struthers, the Buckeye Greg, Jeff Olson, the Evil Badger. Like button is smashed. Jeff Olson, a very good close friend of mine for decades, is in the house. Go Ducky. Boomer. Sooner Bruce Harris is in the house. Skaven, yes, the evil Cornhusker, BYU football. Marcus Williams, Zero Wiz. Greg the Hammer, Flugar, John Famalore, Woody Bortner. Thanks for coming on in. I appreciate it. It is raining now. It has been raining. We just got hit over here in Maple Grove, Mr. Jeff Olson. We got hit hard. Daniel Gygax is in the house. Grateful Trojan is here. Ed BMD. Ryan Brooks. Go Tigers. Go Tigers. Adam is in the house. Deep Water. is here. Mama Duck Clemson Tiger, thanks for coming on in. Studzilla is here. Deep Water, go Canes, go. John Dry is in the house. David Kreitzer, Don Scruggs, Georgia. Chad Price is here. Jay Chapman, Stephen Vitt. We got a lot of people here. Dave, who's your Dave? Is in the house. Friends call me Sean. Who else is here? Who else is here? Christopher Hooter, Deadeye. RT is in the house. Dante's Infernal Purgatory is here. Smooth Dance Moves. Absolutely. All right. I appreciate you all coming on in. About 60 people left when I started dancing. I wonder why that is. Usually about 30 people leave right when I start singing. We've got a $5 holla. I've been I have been practicing the Miley Cyrus song Flowers. Let me repeat that. The fat guy from Minnesota has been practicing Miley Cyrus, the song Flowers. Could that be the next PATC rendition? I know a lot of you secretly have been calling out for me to do a Miley Cyrus song. You might get your wish. Studzilla. Greg the Gold is so golden, he just opened up a checking account at Fort Knox. The bank was so impressed, they made him the vault. Let's go. There are believers in there. There are believers in the PATC family. Oh my God. Thank you, Studzilla. I appreciate the confidence that you have in me. Marcus Williams, we've got a $2 holler. $2 holler. Marcus Williams, each university could create an own temp agency with the conference. I guess. I have been told there's complications with that as well. Because where the student athlete spends the time at, which of course is the school, that location becomes their employer as well. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't have the answers. I do not have the answers. I've only got questions. Possibly Marcus Williams. I know they're looking at all these things. And let's see if they can come up with a solution. A solution that would work legally, and a solution that all the schools in a particular conference would say, all right, let's pull the trigger on it. And something that would work for the student athletes and all that stuff. Marcus Williams, thank you so much. Thank you for the $2 holler. I appreciate it. John Dry, Great Greg is going to open up a portal from hell with a Miley Cyrus song. Maybe I just want to show you guys my range. my non-existent range. Jose, independent contractors of their conference. Notre Dame up a creek with that one. Miley Cyrus, The Climb. Steven Vitt is hoping I don't do it. I don't think I can do it. I don't, well, okay. All right. Greg, I'm here to prepare to share my tinfoil endgame theory scenario for college football, the U.S. Senate, and the Supreme Court. I cannot wait to hear it, T-Town Hawk. I cannot wait to hear it. Okay. Thank you all for joining us. I appreciate it. I appreciate it very much. Thank you, BYU football, for coming on in. And don't forget about the right to work states. Oh, yeah, all different states. Some private, some public, blah, 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 blah. That's why, well, if we get a solution within the next year, do you think it's going to be a national solution? Or is it a better chance one conference can pull something off? I guess that's my one big question for you all today. Kansas Jayhawks. Before we get all of the big stories, before we get to all of these dramatic stories in college football, we continue the CFB PATC Spotlight Series, the Kansas Jayhawks. Mama Duck Clemson Tiger. Great. My husband was having withdrawals since you did not get on this morning. Well, tell your husband, and I don't know if your husband's the tiger or the duck in your relationship, but we are going to be doing the Clemson Tigers real soon in the spotlight. We haven't done them yet. We haven't talked about Gideon Davidson. We talked about him a lot last year, and he was not ready. He was not ready in his development. Could he be ready this year? So we're going to be talking about the Clemson Tigers. Yeah, it's going to happen real soon. Today is the Jayhawks. What do y'all think? I tell you, again, there's a lot of question marks. There is a lot of question marks. First of all, they got the old gang back, right? The head coach, the offensive coordinator, and the quarterback whisperer, Zabrowski. They've got it all. They've got the gang back. So that is one huge positive. The other huge positive is they got some talent. They got some talent. Now, I say this in you all know my way too early predictions. I do not have the Kansas Jayhawks doing all that well, because some of these questions I don't know if they're going to have an answer for, and there is a certain consistent thread throughout this particular roster. And that is, there are guys that have done it before. You've seen them do it before, but they didn't do it last year. So, starting with the quarterback situation. And that is a dicey one. Now, again, I completely, I'll just give Minnesota. I'll give Minnesota example. Last year, we had Drake Lindsay, right? The redshirt freshman quarterback. He played a couple of snaps as a true freshman. Nobody knew who he was. There was a lot of positive things coming out of Minnesota. He was the quarterback player of the year in the senior year at Arkansas, in the state of Arkansas. But if you looked at all the quarterback rankings in the Big Ten, he was dead last because everybody else had played, right? Nobody knew. And you can't blame people for saying, well, Minnesota was going to have the worst quarterback in the Big Ten last year. He ended up throwing 18 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, the worst running game in the conference. He did really, really good. This might happen with Kansas. Especially, remember, Kansas has got the old gang back together. Colton Nicky, Zombrowski, and Leipold. So, a guy like Cole Ballard, 3 years, he's played 15 games. 445 yards passing. 3 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 54.7 completion percentage, 116 quarterback rating. I mean, he has the little time that he's played, he has not played all that good. But again, he's still on the roster. And again, this gang that has been really successful when they've been together before, they kind of, it sounds like they feel pretty comfortable with a Ballard versus Marshall quarterback QB1 battle. Again, Isaiah Marshall, 9 games, 28 yards passing. He's barely played. He ran for 160, passed for... These two guys, they haven't played. I mean, Ballard's played a little bit more, but again, from the outside, it is difficult to give the quarterback unit at Kansas a rating at all. So, you got 2 quarterbacks, or a third one, or a fourth one. They have not played. It does not mean they're not going to be good. I just gave the example of Minnesota, and there's lots of examples. Dylan Edwards. This guy can play. I saw him at Colorado a couple of years ago. He got injured, then he got injured, then he got injured. He has a very high elite skill level. He's not a joke. He's phenomenal when he can play. Over 1,000 yards rushing. Again, I got to pull up the career stats. I had to pull up the career stats on Cole Ballard. I had to pull up the career stats on Isaiah Marshall. I had to pull up the career stats on Dylan Edwards. Usually I just put up the 2025 stats. But again, none of these guys did it last year. Dylan Edwards got injured right away at Kansas State. I think it was a punt return, or was it a kickoff return? I watched the play in real time. And I screamed and I said, oh my God. But whatever. Look, again, there is a certain thread that runs through this. If he plays, he could light it up in the Big 12 this year. So, but we know that Dylan Edwards, in my opinion, the young man is an incredible athlete. 5.8 average per rush, 8 rushing touchdowns, 58 receptions. He's going to be a third down back in the NFL. And he's going to be probably pretty successful. And I think this was a big get for Kansas Jayhawks, in my opinion. Now, the next player for Kansas, he actually did it. Cam Pickett performed last year. He produced for Kansas. 45 receptions, 476 yards receiving, 10.6 average per reception, 3 receiving touchdowns. So he actually has done the work at Lawrence. A familiar dude. So that's that's good news for Kansas, right? Lance Leipold. And this is even a better news for Kansas, in my opinion. Linebacker Trey Lathan, if you remember, that is not Trey Lathan. Holy cow. What is going on? What is going on around here? My apologies. the producer of this show is going to get fined. My apologies. Tate Town Hawk, everybody in the house, my apologies. But the good news, Cody Campbell hacked this show. Pokes crashing, great. My apologies, Jayhawk fans. Again, the original Minnesota moron. Trey Lathan. I know the Jayhawk fans know this. He was gone. He went in the portal. He said he was going to go in the portal. He was gone. And that would have been a big loss for Kansas. But he came back. Trey Lathan came back out of the portal, back to Lawrence, Kansas. That was the big first victory of Kansas this season, in the offseason, when Trey Lathan came back, the leader of the Kansas Jayhawk defense. Let's take a look at the Kansas football schedule. Missouri, all right, you got a chance for revenge against your rival. The border war, Kansas and Missouri. What's going to happen on that? That is Friday night, September 11th, which is important to all of us, on Fox Prime Time. Woo! Yeah. Austin Simmons against who? Colt Ballard or Isaiah Marshall? You let me know, Jayhawk fans. You let me know. Then they're at their home against Arizona State. So you come out of the gate in that new, beautiful, renovated football stadium. Beautiful, 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 beautiful fans. Missouri prime time. And then you catch Arizona State early in the morning. That is Central Time that you're looking at there, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Middle Tennessee State. Then you're on the road to Utah. Second Big 12 game of the year. On the road to Kansas State. Now, Kansas has not been able to beat the Wildcats. Not lately. You're probably going to need to win that football game. You're going to need to win that football game to get what you want to go, to get to the place you want to get to at this. That is the game right there. At home against Baylor, on the road to TCU, at home against UCF, on the road to West Virginia, at home against BYU, and on the road to Oklahoma State. First of all, I guess and again, this is my first question. The first question that has to be answered is, who's going to be your quarterback? I mean, who's really going to be your quarterback? And are they going to be able to get it done? I would say they have a lot of uphill work to do. But I get back to the first thing I said about the Kansas Jayhawks. The gang is back together. The head coach, the offensive coordinator, and the quarterback whisperer. They're all back together. Having said all that, I've got Kansas at number 12. And if the gang wasn't all back together, I probably would have Kansas at 14, 15, or 16. I don't know where I would. I cannot put them ahead of. I cannot put them ahead of West Virginia. I can't put them ahead of Arizona State. I can't. I don't know where else to put them. With the big question marks at quarterback, I don't know. I cannot put them any higher. Let me know how wrong I got it once again. The Kansas Jayhawks. First question is, who's going to be the quarterback? Let me know what you think, what you've been hearing in the chat room. I think it's going to be Ballard, but again, let me know. Is it going to be a 2-quarterback system? Could that be it? I believe Kansas will use a successful 2-quarterback system. It comes out and surprises everyone, a la 2022 offensive system did as well. All right. I like to hear that. 2-quarterback system. Now, is that a 2-quarterback system in which you have certain packages for the other quarterback for QB2? Or is that a 2-quarterback system in which you just rotate them in and out and they have their full drive that they play in? Let me know at Taytown Hawk on that. Mr. Monkey says Ballard is probably QB1, 1A. He's a gamer. Could go either way. Koltoniki will use both. Mama Duck Clemson Tiger. You should do that as an I do declare. Well, that somebody else would have to. I cannot. If somebody wants to say that Marshall is going to be QB1 on week 1, I'll give them a 1-point valuation on that. But I can't do the Cole Ballard. I think Cole Ballard is a slight chalk. Too much of a chalk on that. Rotation or package depends purely on Marshall's ability to pick up on Koltonicki's system. Interesting. Studzilla, the Buckeyes used a dual quarterback system for years in the 90s and the early 2000s. All righty, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate Kansas Jayhawk Talk. Again, give us a phone call later in the program. The floor will be yours. If you want to talk Kansas Jayhawks, we'll talk about it. Or, of course, in a super chat in support of this channel. Let's go right to bam. Bam. DNRonline.com. OBD done. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you so very much. I did explain. Let me get to the super chat here. Before we get into Sunbelt Conference discussion, Sunbelt realignment discussion, and Cantwell Cruz, the wall, stopping USF and Boise State and UConn and Memphis from possibly getting into the Power 4. We got to talk OBD done. Super chat. OBD done. $50 holler. My goodness. Wow. SEC drone office notice a wall being built in the distance to stop expansion. An SEC commission vanity to make plans of industrial-sized university lifting drones. All SEC will be lifted over the wall. It's fast-tracked, built in the deep south. My goodness. Holy smokes. Holy smokes.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
OBD done. At the very beginning of this program, I apologize to you. I don't know if you heard it or not. You are going to be up. I know I keep telling you this. You are going to be up on the art, on the wall, on our title screen. You've already been up there once. It's just that none of you saw it because we had to switch it up and go to the Florida State Money Perch live show. And I think people have figured out that. I think you all have understood that we had to do it on that day. But OBD Don is going to be up because of his incredible support of our program and as important, his creativity in his super chats. He's going up on the art wall on a live show. It's going to have him, the SCC mountain climber, and they're both going to be up on the wall. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a quick, I'm going to give you a little bit of a tease, OPD Dunn. You're going to be you're going to be on the same art picture, the title screen, with Cody Campbell. OPD Dunn and Cody Campbell are going to be up on the same piece of art. And I'm not going to say who's doing what. You're all going to have to find out. But OPD Dunn, thank you for your $50 holler. Incredible support. Thank you so very much. And that's just, I don't know how to thank. I can't thank Opie enough. There's nothing I can do for the young man, OPD Dunn, other than I'm going to put him up on the wall on art. And that is something that I'm going to do going forward with all of you in some degree or another. I have wanted to, I've wanted you all to become more part of the show. This is a discussion that I've had with the little general and my friends and all that. And this is why I do the I Do Declare competition. I wanted you guys to be able to be Studzilla the Cold or Studzilla the Gold, Jimmy Austin the Gold, Jimmy Austin the Cold, Buckeye Greg. I wanted you guys to be able to be part of the show, watch your predictions. I wanted you guys to be a part of it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think once we get into this, and we're already into it, there's already 3 things that have been decided in the I Do Declare. We're going to have a scoreboard. It's going to be updated every week. It's going to be fun. Your bold predictions. Somebody's going to be the I Do Declare world champion. Somebody is. And somebody's going to be the I Do Declare cold champion. World champion, cold champion. And the cold champion is not going to be the fat guy from Minnesota. That's the most beautiful thing about this competition. I'm not allowed to enter, so I'm not allowed to lose. Okay? The other thing that I can do is, like OPD Dunn, who has been such a huge support. So has Ricky Tungate. I'm going to put Opie in the picture. Now, I got to warn OPD Dunn. He might not. OPD Dunn might not. OPD Dunn and the SCC mountain climber. Those 2 fellas, they might not come out ahead in this picture. We're going to have to find out. We're going to have to find out. I mean, OPD Dunn might not be happy with it. So, it's just the way it is. Like I say, I managed to get everybody upset. If you watch this show every single day during the week, you're going to get upset at least one time. Your program, your conference, your whatever, your quarterback, your backup left guard. I'm not going to like how your backup left guard play. You're going to get upset with us at least one time during the week. Thank you, OPD Dunn. Thank you so very much for your incredible generosity. I very much appreciate it. We've got Ricky Tungate, the reigning Big Ten champion, soon replaced by the Gophers. Reigning Big Ten champion, reigning undisputed national champion, the Indiana Hoosiers, $20 holla. Greg just helping keeping the lights on. Big Ten needs to be the Big Ten and don't worry about the other conferences. Wow. Ricky Tungate, my goodness, an aggressive super chat. But thank you for helping us keep the lights on. I very much appreciate it. Very much appreciated, sir. $20 holla. Thank you for all your support. Very much, we're very grateful. The little general and I are very, very grateful. Thank you, Ricky Tungate. My goodness. OBD done $5 holler. Okay. It's cool. Okay, you don't have to do all, but I've been pressed against a few walls in my life. You're not going to be pressed up against the wall. You're going to be going up a mountain. You're going to be hanging on the mountain, OPD done. However, I'm not sure you're going to get to the top of that mountain. Not at least in this picture that is coming up. OPD done. Thank you for the $5 holler. Very much appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. We have got Maria Garcia is in the house. Wow. The little general has made it in. The little general has made it in. OP, gracias, OPD done. The little general. Yeah, we are very, very humbled by all the support that we get in. Can you put the mariachis for our friends that support us? Okay. Before we get to the James Madison, before we get to the Sun Belt Conference, what is going on in the Sun Belt Conference? How are they being affected by the Cruz and Cantwell wall with the Cody control hanging on to the ladder? All right. But first, before we get into all that, we got to do some music. We got to do some music. I was not prepared. I cannot find it. Where is it? Where is it? There it is. There it is. We play this watch along middle of the third quarter. Every watch party, when the game is within 10 points, middle of the third quarter, this song comes on and we celebrate a competitive college football game. Let's go. All right, little general, I hope you love that music. I hope your friends love that music. I hope the friends in the PATC community. We play the mariachi most of the games during our watch parties, if they're not a blowout in the third quarter. We have a lot of fun with that. We've got a Studzilla. I do declare UCLA will win 6 or more games this season. What is the win total on UCLA? Can anybody look that up real quick? Is it 6.5, 5.5? That might be too close to a chalk, Studzilla. That'd be a 1-pointer for UCLA. Charlie Atwood, I would agree. It's a 1-pointer or I cannot book it in. It's a one-pointer, or I cannot book it in. Studzilla, Studzilla, 5.5. Okay, Studzilla, I'm gonna offer you this. Jeff Olson says 6.5. Studzilla, I'm gonna have to. You don't give me another super chat. If I do declare UCLA at 7 wins, I will book it, but not at 6. I'm ruthless. I'm absolutely ruthless. I tell you what I'm going to do. I do declare UCLA at 7 wins, and I'll give you a valuation of 2 points. 7 wins, valuation at 2. Let me know, Studzilla, let me know in the comment section if you want that book. I'm not doing 6 wins. I'm not doing 6 wins, and you can appeal that. You can appeal that judgment, but I am also the head of the complaint table. I sit on the other side of the complaint table. Fine, let's go. I can see Studzilla sitting there going, 7. Ah, man. Oh, he did offer me 2 points. Okay, let's go. Let's go. All right, Studzilla. Let's go. Hold on, everybody. Then we're going to get to the James Madison. No. They got to go 7 or 5 or better. 7 or 5 or better. I'm going to book it in. And then we're going to get to the James Madison Sunbelt story. And then we're going to get to a little bit of the John Wilner article. And any other super chats that come in during that time, I will get to them as soon as I get to the James Madison. I think there's an article here that is really interesting. And I believe probably 95% of you have not seen it. All right? We got to get to it. All right. Hold on. Everybody, hold on. I'm calling a timeout. I'm calling a quick timeout. No, I didn't want to do that. Okay. Prediction, I do declare 84. UCLA wins 7 or more. Good Lord gracious. Games. I'll give you 2, valuation of 2. All right. It is booked. Our 84th, I do declare. All right. James Madison. Shane Metlin of a couple of days ago, the Daily News Record online.com, despite recent reports that the Sun Belt Conference is considering a significant increase to its exit fee, league officials told the Daily News Record they do not believe any changes are imminent. The discussion itself, however, may be the clearest indication yet that conference leaders are at least preparing for another round of realignment before several major media rights agreements expire 2030. All right? The discussion itself, however, may be the clearest indication yet that the conference leaders are at least preparing for another round of realignment. CollegeAD.com first reported last week that Sun Belt Commissioner Keith Gill was advocating for an increase that could push the league's exit fee as high as $25 million. $25 million to exit the Sun Belt. The current fee is $5 million, with at least 12 months notice, and $10 million with less than a year's notice. Multiple Sun Belt administrators contacted by the Daily News Record indicated there has been pushback. There has been pushback from member schools. However, with some believing a $25 million fee would be excessive. Texas State agreed to pay $5 million this summer to leave the Sun Belt for the rebuilt Pac-12. Remember that? Remember when the Pac-12 needed another school than Texas State was in the catbird seat. And they came up with $5 million. They left. They went to the Pac-12. Meanwhile, Louisiana Tech ultimately agreed to pay $8 million to leave the Conference USA and join the Sun Belt following a legal dispute. Gill and the league's presidents are expected to discuss the issue further in the coming weeks. But several administrators do not anticipate any immediate action. I don't think any schools themselves are really pushing it. One Sun Belt athletic director said, Mohr, the league, trying to protect itself. It's very early in the process. Another Sun Belt athletic director described the conversation at last month's conference meetings as brief. Several administrators also questioned whether the Sun Belt current media rights deal with ESPN supports such a dramatic increase. You're going to $25 million exit fee? Potential federal legislation and ongoing discussions about revenue sharing, governance, and media rights have created uncertainty throughout Division I athletics. And we got a big whiff of that in the last few days. Some administrators remain concerned that a Big Ten and the SEC could eventually pursue a different competitive structure if congressional efforts fail to provide stability they seek. For programs and conferences such as the Sun Belt, the fear is being left behind if college football ultimately fractures into multiple tiers. That backdrop helps explain why schools such as James Madison continue to keep an eye on future opportunities. PATC money shot number 1 of the article. PATC money shot number 1 of the article. Attendees at the JMU's Duke Club Cavaran stopped in Richmond last month, said University President Jim Schmidt acknowledged that he does not view the Sun Belt as a permanent destination, and that the university continues to hold power conference aspirations. James Madison. This is not the permanent destination. This is not what they aspired to be. James Madison keeps climbing up that ladder. Who should be able to tell James Madison that this is it for them? The Sun Belt Conference, a private association of schools, they wanted James Madison. They got James Madison. James Madison wanted into the Sun Belt a few years ago. But James Madison is looking at, this is not a permanent destination. Well, if the Cruz-Cantwell bill passes as it's written, that's it, James Madison. You ain't getting in the Big 12. You're not getting in the ACC. You're stuck. You cannot climb that wall. The picture is the Husky, is the Yukon Husky and the University of Florida Bulls, and they're trying to get over the wall. You take away schools ability to freedom of association away from them. You stop their ability to make their own decisions, to aspire to reach other levels. Can you imagine the United States government coming in and telling a private organization like the AAU, no more schools. No, it's unfair. Can you imagine if the government would have came in and stopped it before the AAU decided that they wanted to hand out an invitation to the University of South Florida Bulls, which they did last time? These are private organizations. They have the right to determine their associations. When you start doing that, you start taking away people's aspirations, you start taking away innovation, you destroy. Administrators at both James Madison and Appalachian State have also privately expressed concerns to boosters about the league's current television agreement, arguing that the conference as a whole is undercompensated, and that programs generating some of the league's strongest television audience may deserve a larger share of future revenue. So, the Sun Belt might go into a little bit of an unequal revenue situation. I know the Big Ten, a couple of years from now, if the Big Ten has still the right to make their own decisions, which I don't know, you're going to hear more about the unequal revenue sharing, the future of the Big Ten. Sun Belt is talking about it, or they want to talk about it. Some schools want to talk about it. Back to the article. At the same time, tensions have surfaced within the conference over issues ranging from strategic priorities in men's basketball and baseball to the addition of Louisiana Tech as a Texas State replacement. Still, there's little indication that any current Sun Belt member is actively pursuing an exit at this time. Power conferences appear content to wait for a greater clarity regarding federal legislation. We got a whole bunch of planes flying around at PATC Airport. None of them have landed. One of them have crashed, and that was the SCORE Act plane. The Protecting College Sports Act plane is circling around. It's starting to lose fuel. It's going to have to land quickly in the next 6 weeks, or that sucker is going to crash as well. While two Sun Belt athletic directors said they do not expect the Pac-12 to expand further east or add additional members until they evaluate the success of its new scheduling model, the whole world is in a holding pattern, a Sun Belt athletic director said. Holding pattern. And nothing is imminent. Our live show last night, the first two words, all in capital letters, was nothing imminent. But after the live show, I got a few DMs saying, well, Greg, could this happen in the next 24 hours, 48 hours in the next week? And I had politely say, look, nothing is imminent. no operational plans are we don't think operations are happening right now. However, everything is on the table. If you missed our live show last night, I would advise to go and watch it. Because everything we said last night is going to remain true, at least for a little bit here. And who knows? I mean, who knows? Who knows what I'm going to pop up in here and talk about a hot bubble of action. And for those who have not been with us, when I say hot bubble of action, that means there is something in operation. It has gone into operational. It's gone to that phase. All right. So let me know about what do you think about James Madison? They are not. They have aspirations. They have aspirations to get to the Power Four. Expansion crush. My goodness. Mr. Hoosier is in the house. $5 holla. I do declare, Colorado wins 10 games. They go 10-2, and they win the Big 12. Now, expansion crush, I only can use one of those. Anytime somebody has a combo, I got to take the first one. So I'm going to put it down as Colorado wins 10 or more games. And that is going to be your prediction. Because that itself is a 5-pointer. You don't need the Big 12. You don't need the Big 12. You don't have to include that. Colorado does not have to win the Big 12 for you to get 5 points. That is a valuation of 5 points. Colorado wins 10 games. Expansion crush comes off the top rope. Nice to see you, my friend. I appreciate you dropping on in. Appreciate the generosity. $5 holler. Colorado wins 10 games. Holy smokes. Holy smokes. A breathtaking...
Oh my God!
I do declare...
Oh my God!
From the one and only Expansion Crush Daniel Montcastle. Wow. Look at this massive super chat. My goodness. That is Mr. Jeff Fuller. Holy smokes. $50 holla. Wow. Jeff Fuller, smash that like button. USA, 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 Sakal. 2-0 win, 2-0, excuse me. 2-0 win over Australia. The very physical Australia team. Holy smokes. They were out for blood. The only thing worse than this PCSA bill has been the SEC Big Ten efforts to get a realistic bill put forth themselves. The score has always been a dream wish list bill for the SEC and the Big Ten. There's still time to fix. Now, let me come at that with two different angles. Thank you, Jeff Fuller. Thank you for your incredible generosity. My goodness. Thank you, sir. Number one, the SCORE Act was supported by all the Power Four conferences. Phillips and Yormark, they all spent time in Washington, D.C. to get that passed. What the Big Ten and the SEC screwed up on, which is the same issue that they screwed up on for decades, is they should have tried to figure out something in regards for more advocacy for the student athlete. And I don't, Jeff, you and I don't have the answers. And I don't even know if there is but there needed to be, there's a lot of really smart people out there that says legally, nationally, we can't really even have a CBA right now for college sports. Like, it's not even doable because of the National Labor Relations Board. There's a whole bunch of things that are in the way. It's really, really complicated. But like I said in the very first episode that I ever did on this show, it has never been the priority of the two biggest conferences. So of course it's never been the priority for everybody else. It's never been the priority. It should have been. Because even if you can't, now look, some of you are rolling your eyes and saying, Greg, you're just wishing upon a star like the people that you complain about. I'm probably guilty. But even if you can't do it, even if you can't get it done, like I have been told, a CBA could not have been a part of this bill. It would not. It's not just not. It can't legally happen the way things are set up. But if you try to get the SCORE Act passed and then you put it in context of we're going to try to do something at a conference level or a Power 4 conference level, but the SEC and the Big Ten had no story ever to tell on that. Like they were not able to influence anybody. They were not able to get any traction with anybody. They could not get the exemption, antitrust exemption, because they did not have a story to tell on the student athlete part of it. And I'll balance that out by saying I don't have an answer. That's the problem. It sounds like Danny White has an answer. We've already talked about his comment earlier today. All right? We talked about what he said about a single national employment agency. But again, he doesn't go. I need somebody to explain to me the next step. So I'm hoping, and I'm probably a schmuck for hoping this, but I'm hoping that like a single conference decides to pull the trigger on something and see if it works. And if it doesn't, somebody else tries something else. Because nationally now, there's so much damage that has been done. And that is a great segue to John Wilner's article of today, which I'm only going to cover just a little bit. But the words that he used is the words that are being described, the chatter behind the curtain. Big time. Jeff Fuller, I appreciate your incredible generosity. Thank you so very much. We are going to get in massive super chat by BYU Cougar. Jeff Fuller, my goodness. Buckeye Greg, I do declare Vanderbilt wins the SEC this year. My goodness. That is another 5-pointer. Buckeye Greg, I do declare Vanderbilt wins the SEC. Yeah, I can't, if you would have said that last year, I would have said a 4-pointer. Maybe even a 3-pointer, because we knew that Diego Pavia was coming back and Vanderbilt had some juice and they're probably going to finish in the top half of the conference. But they're starting that freshman, Jared Kerr. This is a 5-pointer, Buckeye Greg. 5-pointer. We're going to book it. Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. And then we got Kenneth. We got the Gator, the Pirate Gator main. No, that's Kenneth Green. I'm sorry. That's Kenneth Green. That's a new member Oh my goodness, Kenneth Green, I apologize, sir. Welcome, early P. Cloak and Dagger. We've got a new member in the PATC family. My goodness, you are knighted, Cloak and Dagger. Knighted, Cloak and Dagger. Thanks for coming on in. I appreciate it. Thank you for coming on in. The hilarious part, this is Kenneth Green, a new member, of this framing as is protecting the student athletes, capping what they can make so schools can keep more revenue is really protecting them. Well, so that's the thing, right? And that's what I said before. The SEC and the Big Ten, if they're going to do this very dangerous thing, uncharted waters, it could all go belly up and it could be stopped by what's going on. You know, there's only, about 25 different potholes on this road to some sort of breakaway on some part of that spectrum. They're going to have to figure out this combination of player compensation, NIL, but give them some advocacy and some agreement between the two, between labor and the conference. So there's probably going to be some cap. Maybe the bird rule is in there. Maybe it's a soft cap. Maybe there's a luxury tax. But the revenue is going to be higher. Or maybe there's not going to be a cap at all. But that's not what the conferences want. They want some cost certainty. But the House settlement, the numbers that are being used in the House settlement are completely obsolete. It doesn't work anymore. Anyways, thank you, Kenneth Green. I appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Mama Duck Clemson Tiger comes in with her own I Do Declare. I do declare that Clemson wins the ACC this year. I'm going to book that in. Clemson will defeat LSU. That's Cranky Tiger. I'm just taking a quick look. I think we might have that in here, which doesn't mean that you can do the same prediction. We got no rules on that. This private organization called PATC. Okay, looks like nobody has Clemson win the ACC. Nobody has Clemson winning the ACC. I thought that was in here. I do not see it. Clemson makes the college football playoffs. That is Mama Duck Clemson Tiger. It was you with the 3-pointer. Mama Duck Clemson Tiger, if you win the ACC, that's an automatic college football playoff berth. Okay, so you've already done this one. This year, if you win the conference, you get an automatic berth. So I'm going to make a deal with you, Mama Duck Clemson Tiger. I'm going to make a deal with you. No negotiations, Mama Duck. You know I am ruthless. You know I am ruthless in this. I will give you. You don't have to give me another super chat, although I appreciate it. And the proceeds on the I Do Declare competition is going to the Special Olympics of Minnesota, by the way. The other donations that I very much appreciate that help us keep the lights on and grow the channel, but the ones that I do declare, I go back and I make copies of all this, and all the proceeds go to the Special Olympics of Minnesota for next year. That has to be on next year's whatever. I'm going to say Clemson. I'll give you Clemson wins a playoff game And that'll be a 4-point valuation. Mama Duck, Clemson Tiger. If you agree, I will use that I do declare as Clemson wins a playoff game, and that's a valuation of 4 points. You may not want to do that, because if you get it wrong, you go -4 on that I do declare. And that would eliminate your Clemson makes college football playoffs. But if you get both of those right, of course, you make 7 points. Mama Duck, it's up to you. That's the best offer I can make you. That's the best offer I can make you. Clemson wins a playoff game. Mama Duck, Clemson Tiger says, that's fine, I believe. Okay, Mama Duck, I will book that in. Clemson Tiger wins a playoff game. Okay. Coy, I declare Illinois makes the college football playoffs. Okay, we will book that in, Coy. I do think we've got another Illinois one in here. I will check it out. I'm pretty sure there's another Illinois in here. And then we're going to get to our... maybe not. Maybe not. Illinois goes to the college football playoffs. Illini Ted, 4 points. So we will have you, Coy, as I declare Illinois makes the college football playoffs at a valuation of 4 points. Thank you, Coy. Very much appreciated, sir. Thank you very much. Marcus Williams, Greg, I appeal my 4-point rating. It should be 5. Which one is that? Can you give me the number, Marcus? And then I got to get out of the next story here. Which prediction number is that? $78. All right, here we go. All right. It's all booked in. All booked in. All right. John Wilner. Let's get to John Wilner here. Yogi Buck, Greg working the art of the deal. Yeah, well, I'm trying to make everybody happy, and hopefully we get close to that. Thursday, Capitol Hill tumult. John Wilner, the Mercury News. We're just taking one part of the article. One little bit part of the article, and then we're going to get to your phone calls. The chaos crescendoed Thursday following a Senate Commerce Committee meeting on the Protect College Sports Act, which addresses a barrage of issues faced in college sports and has the support of all the FBF conferences expected to that matter the most. This is an article into today's Mercury News. John Wilner. Again, we're just going to go over the last part of the article. The SEC and the Big Ten remain opposed to the bill despite changes Thursday in the markup process. If anything, the relationship between the two conferences and the authors, Ted Cruz and Maria Cantwell, deteriorated over the course of the day. Cantwell accused commissioners Tony Petitti and Greg Sankey over exerting unacceptable control over their member schools, which prompted the conference presidents to issue a joint retort. Yes, it got ugly. That's not entirely surprising given congressional involvement, but it underscores the rift that has developed between college sports' most powerful conferences and the group of 8 leagues. At the heart of the conflict are 2 provisions within the PCSA. Prevent the SEC and the Big Ten from expanding, and offer a path to pooling media rights among the 10 conferences and Notre Dame. Both components are designed to reduce the influence held by the SEC and the Big Ten. Naturally, they don't want Congress telling them how to run their businesses. Finally, in the article, in our view, John Wilner, the Mercury News, the PCSA could pass the Senate, but faces fairly long odds of becoming law. Both the Speaker of the House and the House Majority Leader are from Louisiana, which is SEC country. But the frustration oozing from the Big Two, well, that won't soon be forgotten. And this is the chatter behind the curtain. This is what that last part. A lot of damage has been done. There has been a deterioration between Cantwell, Cruz, and the Big Ten SEC. You want to blame the Big Ten SEC for that? That's fine. If you want to blame the other side, that's fine. There's also a deterioration among the Power 4 conferences, because you got to remember the Big 12 and the ACC officially, kind of, sort of, they support this thing. So here we are. In the title of our show is, well, you know the title of our show. We are well past a turning point. A lot of damage has been done, and it's not just going to be forgotten. This bill could go belly up within the next 6 weeks. The Senate might not even vote on it this year. Or they could, but the House doesn't even come close to pass. At this point, even if it doesn't pass, this ain't like the SCORE Act, the plane that crashed. This one is going to hurt. This one is going to make people do radical things. This is the one that some voices of the Big Ten and the SEC are jumping on to make a radical move. So radical that it has the SEC thinking about somehow getting some sort of representation to the student athletes. This is how far we've gone, because they want to use that. If they make the jump, they want to use that as some sort of deflection against the onslaught of what is coming next year. Even if this bill fails, there's going to be another effort. And who's going to back that effort? Where is the money coming from in backing that effort? You know where it's coming from. We announced that we were at DEFCON 1 5 or 6 months ago. I think even 7 or 8 months ago, probably. And here we are. So let me get to your phone calls. And first, before we get to your phone calls, let me say thank you to everybody who's given us a donation. Incredible generosity to help us keep the lights on, grow the channel. In the I Do Declares competition, Studzilla, Marcus Williams, Tayton Hawk, OBD Dunn, Ricky Tungate, OBD Dunn, Studzilla, Expansion Crush, Daniel Montcastle, Mr. Jeff Fuller, Mr. BYU Cougar, Buckeye Greg, Kenneth Green, a new member. Thank you for coming on in, Kenneth Green. I appreciate it, sir. Mama Duck, Clemson Tiger, Coy in, Christopher Hooter. My apologies, Christopher Hooter. My apologies. I did not see that. Freeze in P2 may not be the end of the world, but for UNC, it's brutal locking such schools into a perpetual deficit relative to P2 tiers. Well, it would not be the end of the world. But the Big Ten and the SEC are not looking at it like, oh, they're just freezing us. They're looking at it, this is the first step from eventually destroying us. That's how the Big Ten and the SEC are perceiving this action, perceiving this bill. Remember, in the bill, it gives the government the authority to relook at the structure of everything. And that's why you've got people like Levine, the president of the New York Yankees, saying this is just the start, the fix college sports. This bill is only the start. We've got battles up ahead, ladies and gentlemen. Battles up ahead, not only on the football field, but in the courts. Christopher Hooter, thank you for the $5 holler. I appreciate it. I appreciate all of you. The phone lines are open. 763-260-1333.
From
Mohr Simmons.
Mohr Simmons, can you hold on for just one moment, please?
All right.
Hold on, everybody. I'm calling a timeout. Hold on. Okay. All right, Morris Simmons, I do apologize. The floor is yours. Go ahead, sir.
Greg. Okay, when I had called in the last conversation, I said that what's his name? Cody Campbell and Ted Cruz. I said, look, this was just the start of things. And I meant that. It was just the start of things. Because remember, even during that meeting, there was things they were saying, the senators were saying up there, and other senators was trying to address or put things forward, and they were getting shot down. I mean, it was stuff getting shot down, and then they say, well, we will address that later on. They kept saying we will address that later on certain things that was being brought up.
Yeah.
So there's some stuff in this bill that they really was going to come back around and get a second or third bite of, and that was really going to be devastating to the Big Ten and the SEC. So, yeah, Big Ten and the SEC should take this the way they should take it and feel it the way they are right now. That, hey, if we don't take action now, we will never have control over nothing. So, yeah, they should do that. Now, right now, it seems like everybody, Big Ten, seems like everybody quiet right now. It's a whole lot of things going on behind the scene, you know, so it's like everybody tight-lipped at what they finna do. So I mean, I can't even get what the time of day of what's going on. Except for it's almost like you done walked into like a news blackout. I'm like, I ain't never felt like I can, contact people back home, and I usually get a treasure trove of information. I ain't never had it like this where people are just tight-lipped.
Yeah.
Like, no, there's nothing to report, nothing to say.
Well,
So,
yeah,
I mean, something is cooking behind the scenes.
So I'll give you a little bit of how the sausage is made on that. If you just can give me 1 second here, I'm trying to I'm trying to track something down here. So right now there's a lot of NDAs. I know that. I can say that. And there is a lot of embargoing of information, agreed upon embargoing of information. So this is how it works. This is how partly it works. National reporters are kept in the loop. They're kept in the loop. They get an update, but they're not able to say anything, and they're barely able to speculate on it. They can to a certain degree, but they can say a little bit here, a little bit there, but there are embargoed. So when the story breaks, they have all the backstory ready to go. They have this big old article. They've been working on it, and when it breaks, they all got it written up. This is how it works, ladies and gentlemen. Now,
like I said, normally I get bits and pieces of everything coming, and I'm like, man, this is quiet as kept. I mean, like I ain't never had it like this where it's like can't say nothing. It's just quiet. It's like a news blackout. I'm like, wow.
So hold on here. And I'll give you an example. I give you an example of I'll give an example of one of the most interesting item that I've heard from anybody, from a national reporter within the last month, okay, that I believe tells a huge story, okay? And that is when Ross Dellinger reported two different articles, 2 different days, that is, he slipped it in there, that it is likely that the SEC and ESPN will go into early media negotiations. He made that.
I remember that. That.
He made that. He did that with intentionality. He did that. He did that with purpose, and he's going to go back to that. He likes to circle back to what he's made a statement on. It's only natural what he has reported on, and then when something pops a couple of months later, he tells you this is where my report started with that story. And it usually starts with just a little nugget. I do the same thing at times because sometimes I'm embargoed. This is how it works. So, yeah, right now we are at you don't even hear the reporters barely speculating on any of this. You remember when the great Brett McMurphy came out and he said about how big the Big Ten candidate list was for expansion, right? And he's being talked to everybody. It was huge, right? And he brought up Utah. Now, I was bringing up Utah about a month prior because that was the chatter behind the curtain. That is real, right? And there are a bunch of other real candidates. But what I'm saying is he's like the only one, and he did a big blanket statement. And I think he's probably okay with doing that. But these guys always know more than what they let on, but they give you the information that they can, because they can't burn the story, they can't burn their sources. but they'll be ready for the whole story when something breaks. But go ahead, sir. I apologize for taking up your time.
No. I mean, I'm listening to you and I agree because, like I said, usually the information I normally get is spot on, and I just sometimes just say, okay, look, I say, well, I heard this, or I'm expecting this, and I am expecting an announcement coming. I don't know when, but I'm expecting an announcement to come from the school. But right now, everything is just tight-lipped. It is quiet. I mean, quiet. So that tells me there's something cooking behind the scenes, and they're finna make sure they get all their ducks in a row, and hey, it is what it is. So I'm interested to find out, what's going on. Is if Rocky Rant was on here, is he getting the same thing about Miami? Is it same thing? Is it quiet there? Because I ain't never seen it like this though. But that was my call.
All right, man. I appreciate it, sir. Thank you very much, Morris Simmons. Mr. Seminole Wind. Beautiful.
From Mama Duck.
Mama Duck, Clemson Tiger. She's in the house. Can you hold on for just 1 second?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it. We've got OBD done with a super chat. This is terrible that I'm interrupting Mama Duck, Clemson Tiger the first time she called. I am very, very rude. I apologize, Mama Duck. Just let me get this quickly done. Super chat, OBD done. It's bad when even the Crickets have to sign their NDAs. Yes, the Crickets are not allowed to rub their legs together. That's how they make all that noise. They're not allowed to rub their legs together because they have signed a Cricket NDA. Thank you for the $5 holler, OBD down. I appreciate it. Mama Duck, Clemson Tiger, thank you for your patience. The floor is yours.
So, hi, Greg. Hope you're doing well.
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I am doing well. So, I want to do a little bit about myself. I just want to say that I'm born and bred in God's country in South Carolina.
Okay.
And I have two boys. One went to Clemson and the other went to Citadel. So, you can see I'm very much invested in all of this.
Yes.
So I have several issues about this act that's going on.
Okay.
One of them is the conference realignment. This thing has upset me pretty bad because I feel like that all schools should be able to go to whatever conference they would like to go to if they're asked.
Yes.
And they are putting a damper in all of this.
Yep, that's called freedom of association. Yes.
I feel like we are located in the SEC country. We play a lot of SEC teams, and I feel like that's where we should be.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I don't feel like anybody should be dictating any of this.
Yeah. I think there is a whole bunch of support of what you just said, and I think ultimately that is going to be the battle. I think there's two huge weaknesses to this act legally. One, this act really does limit. This act really doesn't do any better than anybody else has done. This act is limiting athletes' compensation without any representation. And the other one is the freedom of association. The Big Ten really wants to fight that battle on that ground. The question is it going to be done quickly, or is it going to be done in a little bit from now? But yeah, I would most definitely agree with you, ma'am. And I have been pounding the table on this. Clemson risked itself to go to the courts to file against the ACC. The ACC filed against Clemson the day before. That's how it legally played out. Clemson won the battle. Now they're able to talk first-party talks with the Big Ten and the SEC. And suddenly, by government decree, they're going to take away Clemson's sovereignty away from them. They're going to take Clemson's freedom of association away from them. There's going to be look, if this thing does pass, and I don't think it will, but if it does pass, there's going to be a lot of lawsuits, and Clemson's probably going to be one of them. So I will say this, ma'am, Mama Duck, when it comes to conference realignment, I have been pretty clear, what I believe, the people that have opened the doors to me and talked with me. I think SCC is most definitely the chalk, the favorite to be Clemson's new home. But there is this very intriguing thing that Clemson just accomplished, and that is to get Kevin Gustowich. Because Kevin Gustowich is seen as a rock star, and he's got all the credibility in the world when it comes to Big Ten country. So I just want to throw that in there. I think Clemson is a long shot to go to the Big Ten, but they used to be a super long shot. But I think the odds have somewhat shrunken because Kevin Gustowich is a superstar.
Gotcha.
Yep. All right.
Another thing I wanted to talk about was the revenue and the fact that they're trying to push everybody to go in for revenue sharing. And I do not agree with that either. I do not feel like, and I realize that if it ever came to pass, that first of all, I love Citadel to death, but I don't feel like they should be making what Ohio State is, what Clemson makes, yada, yada.
Yeah.
But I also, right.
Yep.
And I don't think that that's right. And then even if they decided to break it up and give these schools this much and these schools this much, I also don't think that's going to work out either because they'll base it on viewership. And let's say that Ohio State does kill it with all everybody watching their games, but if Clemson was in another conference like the SEC or Big Ten, they would be killing it even more than they are now too. So that's how I look at it.
Yeah, and once again, I happen to agree with you, Mama Duck. And here's the thing, let's be honest. Let's just be brutally honest, Mama Duck. This is your first call. So we're going to make it legendary. Let's be honest here. The media money is only one part of the income, the revenue that comes into the athletic department. Okay? You can, if you want to do some sort of wicked thing like give the Citadel as much money as the Buckeyes in media revenue, or let's say you get it within $20 million of each, right? The Buckeyes are still going to make $200 million more than the Citadel because of the donations, because of the ticket sales, because of the signage, because of the sponsorship, because of all their other revenue buckets. It's like you're not solving any issues with this obsessive about one revenue bucket, the media bucket. Nobody's going after the billionaire wallet. Nobody's going after Cody Campbell. Nobody's trying to take that disadvantage away. Nobody's going to Notre Dame and saying, you have all this money, give us some money. Nobody's going to BYU. Nobody's doing this. Only media money. They're obsessed with making sure the media revenue is somehow more evenly distributed when that has been done in the free marketplace. And the ACC network, the Southeastern Conference network, the Big Ten network that has been built from the bottom up, they want to take all that away. They don't want anyone being innovative. They don't want anybody making decisions. They don't want anybody to have their sovereignty. They don't want any freedom of association. They want to take total control. That's what this bill is all about. And Clemson, if this bill passes, and I don't think it will, Clemson's going to be on the leading edge of fighting it. So is Florida State. They've already proven that once. They'll do it again. in my opinion. Let you have the last word, Mama Duck.
Well, thank you very much for your time. I do very much appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Thank you. Call again, please, ma'am. Call again.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Beautiful call. Absolutely beautiful call. Mama Duck, fantastic job.
From
Christopher Hooter.
Christopher Hooter. We got a Clemson Mama Duck, and then we got the LSU Tiger. Christopher Hooter back to back. The floor is yours, sir.
It's the day of the Tigers, I guess, yes.
Oh, that's right. My goodness. There's only one gopher, though. There's only one gopher, Christopher Hooter and Mama Duck. Only one ruthless golden gopher. Go ahead.
And the death of Adam. Because they're both death valley, right?
Hello?
So, yeah, can you hear me?
Barely. I'm getting some background noise.
Yeah, at an airport.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
How about now?
That's better. Go ahead.
So, okay. And most, and I kind of Googled this, so most college sports fans are fans of schools either in the Big Ten, the SEC, Notre Dame, or the upper echelon of the ACC and the Big 12.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's probably 75% of all college fans are fans of those programs. So given that reality, I do not understand what Cruz and Cantwell are doing, especially Cantwell. Now she's from Washington, right?
Yeah.
She's trying to protect Wazoo.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know. But, I don't know where the public at large is on this, but the engaged public, the fans hate this. Because most of the fans, again, are in the SEC or the Big Ten or want to be and have aspirations to be in the SEC or the Big Ten. So I don't know where this is going. You might have broad public consensus over an unengaged public, but the people that care are going to hate it,
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, the good news is it doesn't have a chance in the House. So,
I don't think so. But I got to warn you. I got to warn everybody. This it's going to come back again next year. So the Big Ten and the SEC have to do something. And I'll use the word again, innovative. Innovative. They got to figure this out, something innovative. Even if it's within just the SEC, they got to do something innovative. And keep an eye on Danny White and, of course, Donde Plowman. I think they're going to be the leaders in this.
Well, I guess they can say we tried, we got no choice, right? And they clearly sent the shots across the bow. So I guess that's where we're going. And then maybe they'll do a quick expansion. Oh, done. So I don't know. Fascinating. Anyway, just wanted to say all that. You're doing a great job, buddy. Okay?
I appreciate it, Mr. Hooter. Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, we've been on the air for 2 hours and 9 minutes. I got to lock this thing up. I do appreciate you all joining us. I do want to thank OBD Don, Christopher Hooter, Coy, Mama Duck, Kenneth Green, Buckeye Greg, Mr. Jeff Fuller, massive super chat, Daniel Montcastle, Expansion Crust, Dudzilla, OBD Don, massive super chat, Ricky Tungate, thank you very much. Taytown Hawk, I don't think I saw this one, Taytown Hawk. He's telling me I got to be careful. Taytown Hawk, I appreciate the $2 holler, and I do apologize, sir. I did not see that one. Some of these really just, I don't know. That one did not pop in here until just now. But Taytown Hawk, I apologize, sir. Thank you very much. I loved your phone call the other day. Thank you for your generosity, and I apologize. Marcus Williams, Studzilla, everybody, I appreciate y'all coming in. We're going to be going live tomorrow on Saturday, June 20th. So buckle up, brace for impact. Make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Get yourself notified. Today, the spotlight was on the Kansas Jayhawks. And I think it's number, what are we doing? 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54. Kansas Jayhawks is the 54th team we have put under the spotlight this offseason. We got 14 more Power 4 conference teams, and then we're going to do a handful of G6 teams. I'm enjoying every minute of it. I love doing it. I love talking college football during the off season. I love talking college football during the season. We got to get all this information. We got to break it down. We got to get it all marinated in our thick skulls, at least my thick skull. You guys are all geniuses. It takes you a second to read something, to know it, and it's in your mind. For me, I got to go over it and over it and over it and over it again before it finally sinks in. But if you've noticed, if you've all noticed, and I think you've all noticed, and I think you're all getting a little nervous, I've spent a lot of time in the off season. We're breaking down all the tape because in 2026, it's the redemption tour. No more Greg the Cooler. It is going to be Greg the Gold. My predictions against the spread is going to be a beautiful thing. So buckle up, embrace for impact. Until next time, from all of us at PATC, to all of you, please, you all take great care of each other. And as always, God, family, Golden Gophers.